This is how the British brought down the Sokoto Caliphate. This is the fall of one of Africa's greatest Islamic empire. Pay scrupulous attention. You see, by the late 1800s, Sokoto Caliphate had become one of the powerful Islamic empire in West Africa. It controlled vast land, United Emirates, and ruled using systematic governance. It ruled using scholarship, using force, using faith. And by scholarship, I meant Islamic scholarship. By faith, I meant religion. And by force, I meant jihad. Because it was by force, by fire, by force. But all that crumbled. All that fell when a superpower came. I call them senior prefects. You call them the British. You see, for the British, the Sokoto Caliphate was not just an empire. It was an obstruction to dominance, an obstruction to trade, an obstruction to expansion, and an obstruction to colonial leadership in that geographical location where Fulani Empire were in dominant. So what happened? By 1903, Frederick Lugard, the one you call Lord Frederick Lugard, is not my Lord. So I don't call him Lord, I call him Frederick Lugard. He led British soldiers and they walked into what? The northern part of Nigeria where the Fulani were in dominance. To be specific in date, they entered Sokoto Caliphate on the 13th of March, 1903. They came with Maxim guns. Chaka-um. But you see, the Fulanese were not drinking nono and eating tuwo shikafa and what them took over. They resisted to an extent because for how long will you use bow, arrow, and sword against Chaka-um? No. But let me tell you something. The Saldana of Sokoto, who was Muhammadu Atahiru I, resisted. But for how long? He fled. He did not run. History said he fled. And he fled to a place called Bumi, spelled as B-U-R-M-I. He was caught in that place and they tied him. British, in their own wisdom, strategy and stratagem, did not come and impose a governor general. No. They instituted another Saldana. But this time around, the Saldana became a puppet. The throne became a puppet because he was answerable to the British governance. Now, what about the emirs? Remember in the part 3, I told you that the emirs were in charge of the Emirates. The emirs were allowed to remain in charge, but they were under British command. Remember, in part 3 of this series, I told you that some indigenous group resisted Fulani dominance, but some were conquered, others were absorbed. This time around, British returned the favor. They absorbed the Fulani Empire, using the element of what was being used to govern the Hausas to now govern the entire empire under Fulani governance. That is to say, what was once Fulani rule, governed by religion, became Fulani rule, supervised by Britain. And that was a great tool in the hand of the new British Empire in that geographical location. What is that to say? That is to say, familiar faces in the hands of foreign ruler. The people were seeing their indigenous ruler, but behind him was the British controlling the wheels, because the people saw the emir and the Saldana as an intermediary between the people and above. So now the British used that to bottle the people's loyalty. That is to say, wow, the Hausas were passing through Fulani dominance. A bigger colonizer has come. So the Hausas were passing through Fulani dominance, British dominance. How painful that must have been. How painful. But to cut the long story short, it's not a story, it's history. To cut it short for you because of time factor, British enjoyed indirect rule in the north. They enjoyed it, unlike the south and the west, because they did not enjoy the southeast at all. Okonkwo and his men resisted. They resisted. And maybe that is one of the reasons why the British gave power to the Fulanese when they were living in Nigeria. Because what you don't know is that you are still being controlled indirectly. The British are controlling you using the Fulanese. You are still under indirect rule. Don't tell anyone that I told you. But even if you do, who cares? I am immortal. So, that turnaround shaped the history of the northern Nigeria. The British, the Fulanese also did not lose everything, but they lost their independence. But their structure remained because the British used it to govern the rest of the place where the Fulani were in dominance. So if you want me to make a video on how the British used indirect rule to change the future of what became as Nigeria forever, not forever, till date. I said till date because no one knows tomorrow. Do you know? No, perhaps you don't. Okay? I will make a video. Just tell me, do a video on that, and I will do a video on that. Wisdom Africa is a principal thing. I did not make this video to cause disintegration of the unity of Nigerian people, no, but to give you knowledge and wisdom, because knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, and what you do with knowledge depends on how you understood it. I don't just want you to understand, I want you to understand. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing. I am pleading, I'm begging you. Follow me on Facebook so you can learn, because a lot of you know me as a historian. I am not just an historian. I am a political aficionado, historical aficionado, social commentator. I'm also a spoken word activist. I'm a spoken word artist at the same time as an activist. I love you and I care about you. I'm also a writer. I love you, Africa. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tankaya Reads, where I review African books on African perspective. Another YouTube channel, Modern Day Tankaya, where I post videos like this. So come to Facebook, come to YouTube and learn. When you're watching my video, bring your children around you so they can learn. I am still going from school to school, giving African books to African children. Support me in any way you can. My number is right here in my bio on TikTok. Okay? Let's do this together. Let's support each other. I love you and I care about you. So Facebook, I want to see you on my Facebook, okay? And when you come to Facebook, tell me you're coming from TikTok. I want to see you on my YouTube channel. Request for books. All you need to do is to go to my WhatsApp status here. Go to my TikTok bio rider. You see a WhatsApp number. WhatsApp it and tell you need a book, and book will be given to you in less than 48 hours. And all of you who sent a message, I'm going to reply. I do work. And sometimes I come from work, I'm so tired. I sleep off without checking my inbox. But don't worry, I'll respond to you. I will give you books in less than 48 hours. I love you. I care about you. Let's support one another. All right? Support me. And I will give you knowledge. Wisdom Africa is a principal thing. I love you and I care about you. I expect you on that Facebook and YouTube. Okay? Let's do this together. I love you. I love you so much. So once we finish this, I'm going to start telling stories on other African perspective, because other African nations are waiting for me. Remember, Pan-Africanism is the motion, and African freedom is what we aspire for. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing.